All right, it looks like we're live. We're going to take a minute here and let those of you who RSVP'd for today's show join us. But I want to be the first to welcome you to Live with Sondra, where we tell the stories of leaders shaping the experience economy, the attractions industry, and the people helping move the industry forward. If you're joining us live, I want to hear from you right out of the gate. I think whether you're listening on the podcast or you're thinking about this for your own business, I have a couple of questions for you I want you to think about. And one is, what is the number one challenge with workforce retention that you have right now? That's one question. And do you currently belong to an industry association? And if so, how has that helped you? The chats are open right now, and I hope that you'll engage with us. Let us know what you're thinking. Tell me the answers to those questions. We'll be watching those throughout the conversation. And if you're listening to this later or on replay, this is one of those questions worth pausing and really thinking through. Because today's conversation is going to directly impact how you think about both. And today we're sitting down with someone who has spent more than 50 years helping attractions grow, connect, and lead through change in one of the most competitive tourism markets in the world. I'm really excited about this because when I started this show and I thought about the guests that I wanted to have on this show, this person is probably one of the first that came to mind. So this is a real treat for me today. We're going to be talking about leadership, workforce challenges, industry advocacy, and what it really takes to scale a great attraction. So stay with us. I'll see you after the credits. All right, welcome back to Live with Sondra. I'm your host, Sondra Shannon. And whether you're catching this live or on replay or listening on the podcast, we're here and sure glad that you are here. This is the show where we spotlight business leaders, innovators, and operators defining the future of the attractions industry and experience economy. Today's episode is brought to you by Gatemaster Technology, and at Gatemaster, we believe attractions deserve more than disconnected tools and surface-level integrations. We believe that technology should help operators create a better guest experience, make smarter decisions, and grow with confidence. From admissions to revenue control to data ownership and operational visibility, Gatemaster is built for attractions that are serious about performance. Because in this business, great experiences are powered by great systems. Now, let's get to today's conversation. Like I said earlier, today's guest is one of my favorite people in the industry, and I sincerely mean that. I'll tell you a little bit more about how I've gotten to know this person over the years after we introduce him. But like I said, when I started this show, he was immediately somebody who came to mind. So it's a real treat to have Bill Lupfer, President and CEO of the Florida Attractions Association, where he represents one of the world's most important attraction markets in the world. Bill has spent more than 50 years in the attraction industry, dedicating his career to advancing advocacy, education, collaboration for Florida's tourism leaders. He's built his reputation on meaningful connection, steady leadership, and helping attractions innovate and thrive through change. And when we asked Bill what he can't live without, his answer was simple and powerful, and he said, God. Bill, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the show.
Hey, Sondra, it's great to be here. I appreciate the invitation. It's quite an honor.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I meant it. Like when I started this show, I was like, I cannot wait to have Bill on the show. And I finally did it. So thank you for making one of my dreams a reality today because you were truly somebody that I've appreciated getting to know. And also beyond Florida attractions, attending I've talked a lot about the public affairs conference here, kind of watching you in action in DC on Capitol Hill has also been a real treat for me. But I'm just curious if we can jump right into like what is the Florida Attractions Association for maybe those people who aren't in Florida, because I know that Florida is not only one of the largest you have one of the largest economies with regards to attractions, but also one of the strongest associations probably in all the states.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we do have other state associations. And one of the beauties of what IAPA does for us, I know that most of the folks on the podcast will be familiar with IAPA, but they bring the state associations together. And so the state attraction associations, and there's 6 or 7 in the country, work together in advocacy and learning about the trends that are sweeping across the country and ways that we can be in a defensive position to protect our industry when some of those issues and typically bad ideas pop up in legislatures or assemblies. Real credit to IAPA and a credit to you for your action in IAPA and your advocacy supporting IAPA. Sondra and I spent a rainy night watching the Washington Nationals try to play baseball, which was primarily rained out, and then standing on a street corner getting sopping wet, waiting for our Uber ride to pick us up. But
I forgot
uh,
about that. Yeah, we did.
that was a great night. But really, hats off to IAPA. But the Florida Attractions Association, we represent the interests of the attraction industry in the state of Florida. Now, the good news is, in most cases, Florida is a very business-friendly state, and we have both a government and a regulatory system here that is supportive of business. And very rarely do we have issues that we have to get involved in and challenge and assist with. But fortunately, we have a great state regulatory agency dealing with amusement rides and the security and safety of those types of devices. Family entertainment centers have done very well to a large extent because of the work of the Florida Attractions Association. And we have a full-time lobby team that membership dues the Florida Attractions Association support. They're Tallahassee based, and their job is to protect our industry. So that is our number one job, is advocacy and protecting the interests of our members against adverse actions by either government or government regulators. But we also do a lot of other things. We do a lot of work with professional development and training and development and communications, networking, and it's a very broad industry advocacy organization. We're Tallahassee based, and I'm Central Florida based, just because it's a little easier to get around the state of Florida being in the Central Florida area. But it's a great association. It's been around since '77 for 77 years, and I've been a
Wow.
part of the stewardship for the last 18 years.
Wow. Well, I know here at Gatemaster, we used to fight about who would get to go to the Florida, the annual conference, the Florida Attractions annual conference. We would fight about who got to go because one of the things that I really love about what you put together each and every year is visiting a different part of the state and places that maybe those of us from out of the state wouldn't go or know as well. But also my husband and you know this, we've spent quite a few anniversaries with you guys because
That's
it always falls on our anniversary. Although not this year. You didn't do it on my 20th?
No, we bumped it a little earlier. Jake asked us if we could go a little earlier this year. He said, "Okay, we'll move it into May." So yeah, we're going to be in Tampa this year. And what's remarkable is it's the first time in 77 years our annual conference has been held in the city of Tampa, Florida.
Wow.
Tampa is a spectacular city. There's so much going on there. It's a real renaissance city here in Florida, growing by leaps and bounds, and has a lot going for it. And so we built the conference. It's right on the water at the Marriott Water Street in Tampa. and right across from the convention center. We have two evening events inside Florida Attractions. We're going to be in Zoo Tampa at Lowry Park on Monday night for a special after hours event there. And on Tuesday night, we're being hosted at the Florida Aquarium, which is just a few blocks away from
Wow.
our conference hotel. So lots of attraction oriented experiences, but really the meat of it is what happens during the daytime and the educational sessions that we present. This year, we're going to have a number of speakers who will be talking about research and the trends that our industry is seeing. We have the president of Universal Epic Universe, Jeff Polk, who will be coming and sharing kind of the behind the scenes backstory of the creation of Universal's new theme park here in Orlando. So, a lot of exciting speakers, a lot of content. It's educational intensive, but also a lot of times to market and network with your fellow attraction professionals.
Yeah, one of the things I've always loved about uh, the annual conference is that the way that you've included and welcomed even manufacturer and suppliers into the
Mhm.
conversations and the learning, the
Mhm.
professional development side of things. That's really unique. That you've allowed, and not just allowed, you created the space for that,
Yeah,
which is something I've always appreciated.
there's a couple things that are really unique about the Florida Attractions Conference. One is every aspect of the conference, we want suppliers to be a part of the conversation. And whether they're presenting or they're attending sessions, it seems to me that there is a context and a frame of reference suppliers have that attractions don't have. And so every supplier who's present is bringing value to the attraction members who are participating. So we want suppliers to be a part of every aspect of the conference. The other thing that makes us just a wee bit different, probably from most other conferences, is every meal function is included in the registration fee. So we have 7 meals that are built into the conference, and that way we never are separated. We keep our folks together, and every meal function is a networking opportunity. So there's no chasing people or trying to find a reservation or anything like that. We've got it all covered. We take care of it. It's a tremendous expense to us, but we see value in keeping our folks together and keeping that culture of working together and collaboration alive throughout the entire conference.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in breaking bread together with people in your industry and that you work with. And so, some of the best conversations I've had have been at those meals at the conference. But I will say too, like I appreciate you saying that manufacturers and suppliers bring insights that maybe the attractions don't have, but also there's tremendous value for people like us that are not running attractions in learning about the things and that the parks are experiencing in the business that maybe we don't have insights to otherwise unless they're willing to share on a platform like this. So that's been really I can't tell you how many times I use the things that I've learned from attractions in either helping better what we do as a business or helping them do better as a business because I heard that challenge before
Yeah,
by attending your conference.
yeah. I think the wise suppliers have figured out that they're not selling to the attractions industry, but they're providing solutions.
Yeah,
And I think that's the kind of collaboration that we're really reaching for. Is everything that the suppliers are doing should make either the bottom line stronger or the operation more efficient. It should be providing something to the structure of the attraction that makes it better, and not just selling. And so that's what I love about this kind of new approach to sales is it's really not selling, it's
yeah,
helping attractions be better.
yeah. Always be helping. I think that's HubSpot's motto, but I love that, right? So,
So
Bill,
one of the things,
no,
one of
please.
the, yeah, excuse me. One of the things I want to do this, Sondra, for your folks that are on the podcast today is I have a gift that I'd like to share, and it may be worth a few dollars off our annual conference registration. We have attractions who are not FAA members in the state of Florida that attend. We also have attraction members from outside the state of Florida that often attend our conference, and we have suppliers from all over the world who participate in the conference. So I've got a little gift, and I'll share more about that later on.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Thank you, Bill. Well, hey, I know that our audience is really excited because you have so much, you have a wealth of knowledge about this industry, and you're tackling some of the hardest things that attractions face in your advocacy, your professional development that you do. And one of the things that really stands out to me about your work is the importance of connection and collaboration across the industry. And I'm curious, how do you see industry collaboration directly translating to better bottom line outcomes for the individual Florida attractions?
Yeah, well, in my mind, collaboration, it lowers the cost of learning. And the experiences that an attraction has had, if shared, can certainly save another attraction a lot of wasted time and energy and money if it's simply shared. So one of the things that happens in FAA, our members are fierce competitors in the marketplace. We have 143 million visitors to the state of Florida every year. And our members are scrapping for those folks to come to their attractions. But when we're in a position where we're in conference, we become colleagues and a real willingness to share insight and share experiences. And so when we share our experiences, we're really helping one another avoid mistakes, and implement proven ideas more efficiently and more effectively. And that makes for a better guest experience, makes for stronger operations, and it makes Florida a stronger destination. And when visitation to Florida grows, we all grow. So
Yeah.
it really is a way to work together to create a tourism environment and tourism economy in the state of Florida that works for everybody.
Well, and I can't remember because I think I heard it at your conference. I mean, is Florida like is I know it's in the top tourist destinations in the world. Is it the top?
I would say yes, but I'm not. I don't know for certain out there.
I
There
mean, in
may
terms
actually
of
be.
numbers, I thought I saw something along those lines. Like Florida is like the leading
Yeah,
destination in the world.
and I think what is a challenge is Florida compared with other countries actually,
Sure.
because there may be countries that have more,
Yes.
but Florida is a very strong tourism base, and if you think about Florida, we have about 23 million residents, and then we have 143 million visitors. So we have 7 visitors for every resident every year, which is pretty phenomenal. And it's really, it employs about 10% of the employable population in the state of
Wow.
Florida involved in tourism. They're great jobs. Tourism jobs, tourism careers are great careers. And in fact, the median pay in hospitality exceeds the median pay in all other industries except healthcare in the state of Florida. So
Wow.
it's a great way to live. It's a great lifestyle. The weather is great most days, and it's a great place to do business.
Well,
But
I know we've had conversation about the weather quite often because I know we toy with the idea of Florida all the time because it is perfect.
well, it's a great state, and we have a great tourism industry here. Taxes are low, obviously, and it's a good business environment. So we would invite our friends from Colorado and other places to consider the Sunshine State. I don't get a commission for that, by the way. So, but we love the growth, and it's exciting. By the way, I was born in Orlando. This is my hometown. So,
Wow.
and I've lived other places around the country and worked for other parks around the country and started parks around the world. But this is really the epicenter of the industry on the planet Earth, and that's one reason why I think IAPA headquartered here a few years ago. But
Yeah.
it really is. It's a collaborative industry, Sondra, and I think that's the great thing. It's not just about Florida, but it really is about what we stand for as an industry, and the jobs that we have, and what an honor it is to work in an industry whose very mission is to improve the lives of the people who we touch and to create memories that last for a lifetime. Who else gets to do that?
Yeah, I
And
agree.
so I just think it's an honor to be a part of this. And, we've seen a lot of change over the years, but bottom line is That's what we do. And whether
Yeah.
we're in Florida or another part of the country, we're all chasing the same thing. We want to create families, create memories, and bring people closer together.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I pinch myself and I'm like, I really work in this industry. Or when I'm at one of your evening events at an amazing attraction and you're having this once in a lifetime experience. Nobody gets to have those kind of experiences,
Yeah.
right? Where we've got these attractions all to ourselves and you're hearing from the people behind this amazing experience. And I think, man, I have the greatest job in the world. And so I love that you brought that up, but I kind of want to revisit one more thing with regards to the collaboration piece that you mentioned, because I'm curious, because you've seen so many of these attractions collaborating in the same market, what do you believe the most effective way for attractions to share insights without compromising their competitive edge? Because I know sometimes that's what they're afraid of, right? Their secret sauce, they don't want to give that away, but also I believe what you're saying in that when we help each other, we elevate everybody.
Yeah, it's a great question, and we get that question quite a bit. Here's kind of my thinking on that, because we know that there are trade secrets, and we know that there are things happening in the state of Florida and around the country that are secret and need to be for proprietary reasons. But what I encourage people to do is to share the thinking, not the trade secrets. The real value is in how we approach the challenges. Leadership, service, problem solving, not proprietary tactics, but how we approach those kinds of challenges that we have. And the real differentiator is always the execution. Two organizations can hear the same idea and get very different results. So, you know, the bottom line is this: collaboration sharpens the edge; it doesn't dilute it.
Yeah.
And I think you can do both at the same time and be
Yeah.
successful.
I agree. I mean, my husband Jake is a business coach, and I mean, he probably sees 30 different businesses a month. He's been number one, Grant Cardone's number one business coach for the last 2 years running. And one of the things that he says all the time, and he sees in the data, is that where businesses break is the same, no matter where the industry is. A lot of it is scaling and things that can be shared with each other so you can help people bust through to the other side, right? So I
Mhm.
love what you said about it's leadership.
Mhm.
It's leadership,
Leadership, it's
scaling, and systems, and all of those things that actually can be shared
mhm.
and help each other out. So when you look at the attractions that are really thriving today, the ones that you see that are thriving, is there a common thread in how they engage with the broader industry community? Because I know there are people out there that are not joining any of these associations.
Yeah, I think that the people who are not who are, I'm going to call them the isolationists. It's the isolationists that are falling behind, and the problem with that is it oftentimes they're not aware of it until it's too late. So, you know, by putting yourself in a box and either believing you have all of the answers or being afraid of exposing yourself to not knowing all the answers, and a wise person would do that, you lose access to shared knowledge, to trends, to advocacy. And over time, that gap widens as you're becoming isolationist. And it's much harder to close that gap over time rather than just being transparent and being vulnerable and asking questions. And it's a two-way street because you've experienced something they haven't, and they need you too. And that's the beauty of the association, as problem solvers come together and they share their successes and they can share their failures and come up with solutions together. That's why we have an association. We have an opportunity to build relationships where people trust each other and can share ideas and share successes and failures and help each other be more successful.
Yeah. Well, or celebrate too.
That's
right?
right.
I mentioned
Absolutely.
that we've spent our anniversaries out there, and it's been amazing to celebrate with some of the people we're closest in the industry now because showing up at this conference, many of my favorite people in the industry attend the conference. So, but celebration too, I think we have to celebrate each other, and we get an opportunity to do that with these associations.
Yeah. We're actually building a new section into our conference this year to celebrate what's new this year among Florida attractions. And oftentimes we know about what some of the larger attractions have done, what they've opened, what their new thing is. But there's a lot of creativity and innovation going on in the smaller attractions also. And so we're kind of creating this kind of new showcase at our conference this year to give everyone an opportunity to share what's new and to celebrate their accomplishments in the last year.
Yeah, and forgive me, audience, I'm getting over a cold, so I don't want not to cough in the mic. This is new for me, trying to figure that out. But uh, uh, Bill, I do appreciate that we're going to be celebrating a lot more in this industry or in this next conference, which is great because I'm all about celebration. That's actually one of my mottos in business is there's one emotion that belongs in business and it's celebration,
Yeah, absolutely, I
right?
agree. It's a strong emotion. It's something
Yeah,
that we all need more of.
yeah, for sure. And we're in the industry that celebrates people. So,
That's right.
you've led through decades of change, and right now leaders are asking teams to stay resilient through economic pressures, workforce shifts, and a lot of consistent operational demands. We're seeing that, and I don't know that I would say that we've never seen it, but it is shifting and it's changing because time does that.
Yeah.
So how can attraction leaders foster a culture of resilience amongst staff who are facing these constant environmental and economic shifts?
Yeah, yeah, it is amazing. It seems to me that over time the world is going faster and faster, and the news cycle is moving faster, and everything is moving faster. And I think I look at it this way. I think people can handle change. What they really are looking for is clarity. And, they don't expect you to know all the answers, but what they do expect is honesty and direction and transparency and consistency. And so I think the ability for a leader to say, I don't know, it really is one of strength, but also demonstrating they're a real person too, and they don't
Yeah,
always have all the answers. But when leaders communicate clearly and they model calmness under pressure, it builds confidence with your team, with your staff, and it really helps them see how their role connects with a larger purpose. And when that happens, then resilience follows. So I would just challenge the leaders to communicate clearly and to be vulnerable and to model calmness under pressure. And that confidence that you're going to be building in your team will build resilience.
yeah, I love that. I can't tell you how many times in my business I'm saying to my team, hey, I'm going through this for the first time too. Like, we're really in this together. And there's been, over 25 years I've been doing this, there's probably been a multitude of times I've experienced that.
Yep.
And it's probably not going to be the last either, right? Because the world is changing and the way we do business it changes with that.
Yep.
So I can really appreciate that. And I know that you guys are really strong in helping with your scholarship program
Mhm.
in helping young professionals
Mhm.
organize and get into this industry. You mentioned earlier that this is one of the very best industries, and it sounds like there's good money in this industry in the state of Florida, right? Like it's a good place to go if you are looking to build a life in the business. And I love this industry because so many of us started. I mean, I started as a little operator of a little QZAR in Southern California and became a CEO of a tech company. I still don't understand how that happened, but I know I hear stories all the time of how someone goes from a ride operator to an executive in this industry. And we do have so much institutional knowledge within the professionals that we can share with young professionals. So, when we look at organizations and how they can transition their staff training from just basic training or training about the business to true professional development for their team, what do you see that looking like?
Yeah, it's a really important thing, and in the Florida Attraction Association, we have several different ways that we can help our members. One is our scholarship foundation, which you mentioned. Our foundation provides scholarships for employees of our members, that's suppliers and attractions, employees of our members and their dependents are eligible to apply for our scholarship program. And these are folks that are engaged in some type of professional development program, a college career path in hospitality, or we're also chasing the trades now, and people who are involved in certificate programs in building trades, because the building trades are just as critical as a ticket taker these days in the
Yeah.
success of the attractions industry. So we have our scholarship program we do. We also have introduced the Florida Attractions Leadership Academy. And we're in our first session right now where each month we spend an hour with a former chairman of the board of the FAA discussing some aspect of attraction leadership and attraction operation. And so we're really excited because we have about 35 up and coming leaders in the Florida attractions industry who are participating, and we'll be honored at our annual conference this year for completing our first session. And this is something that will continue. The third thing that we're doing that I think is really important is we call it Mystery Connect. And every month, our members are randomly who choose to participate are randomly paired with another one of our members, and they schedule a 30-minute conversation. So this is simply an opportunity to meet somebody you haven't met before, to network, to learn more about their business, to share information about your business, maybe do some problem solving and some collaboration. But it's simply a way to connect people in our industry face to face on a video call, virtual call, once a month for 30 minutes. And so Mystery Connect has been a huge
I
success
want to
for
do
us.
that.
Let's just sign up. You can do it
Yeah.
online. We'd love to have you, Sondra. It's one of the great parts of my month every month is I don't know who I'm going to be randomly paired with. There's a program that does that for us, but it's completely random, and you never know what you're going to get the second Thursday of every month. But I think, for organizations to be successful, they need to create connection. And so we do it as an association, but even within the context of a single attraction or a supplier, peer groups, mentorships, meaningful connections, being flexible, our people will stay where they are if they feel seen, valued, and feel like they're growing.
Yeah. I agree. I agree 100%. And also, I do have something, a testimonial, because we just launched a bot for one of our clients, and that was a collaboration that happened at last year's conference with Talanis.
Excellent. Hey, that's great
Yes.
news. We
Yeah.
love to hear that.
Yeah. I just from what you were saying, the collaboration part, and then getting to know people. This is also somebody that I've gotten to know over the years, and we were like, why aren't we doing this? So it is important to meet with those people. And the truth is, when we talk about business and finance, people flow who they know. You have to know each other. We have
That's
to
right.
know each other. And so I really appreciate the platform that you've provided for that. And I'm going to try and get in on that.
Do it.
Um, I just want to touch real quickly on some of the operational hurdles because I know we're running out of time. I have so many questions for you. So I don't know that we can get to them all, but I always say that means you got to come back, and I would love to have you come back.
I'd love
Um,
to.
you know, what are some unconventional strategies that you have seen work for improving workforce retention in high pressure attraction environments? Because I know that's a big one for people right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, we talk about training, but I really think a better term that we should focus on is development. When I think in terms of training, it's kind of like how you fill a role or how you do a job. But development really speaks to building a future.
Yeah.
And so by thinking about your team in terms of what are their desires, what are their dreams, what are their goals, not uh, what job they can do, or not only some job they can do, but also where do they want to go. And if you identify and begin with intention, identify future leaders early and give them opportunities to grow, stretch assignments, cross-functional exposure, mentorship. You're building capability in your future, and you're building a bench of leadership that you can count on in years to come. So it's really an investment for businesses to think about uh, developing your staff rather than just training them on how to do a job.
Yeah. I can certainly appreciate that. And then my last question for you, because we didn't get into the politics or any of the things that are creating some of the strain on the businesses that are outside of our control. 20, we've had plenty of conversations about the 2020 year, and I laugh all the time and say, I'm just glad that it wasn't my fault, right? And it's first one of the few times in business the problem wasn't created by, we're going to have failures in business, right? Sometimes you're failing forward, but that was one time where it was like, well, at least this time it's not my fault, right? And I know that that's continued with some of the changes that we see in the world and what's happening on the news and some of the inflationary pressure that businesses are under. So I'm curious, how can attractions continue to deliver high value experiences when they are facing significant budget changes or again these inflationary pressures that we're seeing?
Yeah, it's a great question and something I think everyone struggles with. Here's one way of looking at it, and maybe kind of a little mindset of kind of adjusting how you view this challenge. I think guests remember meaning more than magnitude. And guests don't necessarily need more; they just need memories. They need memorable. And there's so many ways that can be done, and it's not expensive. It doesn't require an investment, but telling a story. I mean, everyone wants to hear a story. Tell
Yeah.
them a story. Have a well trained staff. Pay attention to details. This is the kind of thing that we talk about EQ, your emotional quotient, and I think it's something that sometimes we forget that the deepest emotion that we have, the deepest feeling is our emotion. And if you can touch that with a guest, and that can be done in a paragraph, it can be done a way, it's simply a matter of how our staff deals with our guests and tell them something that they need to know or they want to know or that they'll remember. And by delivering those kinds of memories with a great staff and pay attention to details, great experiences come from execution, not from just investment. And it's all about how you do it. So I would just challenge us to kind of rethink what's important. It's not always a building, it's not always a new thing. Sometimes it's just a matter of doubling down on your team and having the team deliver in a more meaningful way.
I love that. I love that. Well, Bill, this has been such a valuable conversation, and I know that your perspective is a powerful reminder to us that success in the industry isn't built on isolation. We have to get out there, collaborate, and know each other. And it's built through leadership, relationships, advocacy, and the willingness to keep growing through all of the changes, right? And so if I know we've got an offer for anyone who might be interested in attending this year's annual conference. I don't know if you're ready for that now, if we're dropping that in the chat,
Yeah,
but you ready?
Oh, let's go for it. I will be sending out a coupon code, probably live with Sondra would be maybe something we could do.
Yeah, I love that.
And it will provide a $100 discount off of our non-member rate to attend our conference. And remember, that includes all of the meals. It's all wrapped into one price, and everything is covered, the evening events, all the meals, all of the functions, 30 hours of educational content, more than you'll ever imagine. You'll be drinking water from a fire hose before it's all over. But you'll also make contacts with people who are other professionals in our industry. And those are meaningful relationships that will last far beyond the dates of the annual conference, which is May 31 through June 3rd.
Thank you for that. So that's super exciting. Remember, guys, Live with Sondra. Use the code Live with Sondra to get your $100 off non-member
And
rate.
that will be live by the end of the day today, Thursday, April 2nd.
Awesome. Well, Bill, if somebody would like to get in touch with you or your team, what's the best way to do that? Is that Face or LinkedIn? Is it your website? I mean, feel free to share whatever you want on the show, and we'll make sure to add that to the comments as well.
They're welcome to message me through LinkedIn. They're welcome to email me. Last name Lupfer at floridaattractions.org. You can go to our website, floridaattractions.org, and has our contact information. Call me. Our phone number is on the website also. And we answer the phone in our office. I have an office phone sitting here on my desk in Orlando. I take a lot of calls. Happy to collaborate. Happy to talk. We chat with people from around the country on issues that are of common concern to our industry. So it's not necessarily just Florida. Right now, we're helping another region of the state on developing a attraction association for their region, not in the state of Florida. We just want to help. So I think the more that we can build these teams of collaboration, the more successful we'll be as an attractions industry.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate your leadership and all that you're doing to advocate for this great industry that we both love so much, and appreciate you being on the show and for the great offer that you gave our audience today. I also, yeah, I just, like I said, thanks for making today happen because you've always been on my list of people I want to have on the show. And so you made that possible today. So I really appreciate you being here.
Well, Sondra, I appreciate it. It's an honor to have done this. And I appreciate you and Jake and the Gatemaster team for everything they do, for their support of the attractions industry, both in the state of Florida and around the world. You all do an amazing job. And we're grateful for Gatemaster's support of the Florida Attractions Association.
Yeah, and I will say this before I let you go. He is right. They do answer the phone because I had to call Mike last week and Mike picked up. And
That's right.
I love that about you guys. So it's you've made this so personal for the people involved that you're involved with, and I appreciate that. So
Great.
thank
Thank
you
you.
for being here.
We appreciate it. Thank you,
See
Sondra.
you soon. All right. For those of you joining us live, I do want to thank you for being a part of this conversation. Your insights and comments are what make these discussions even more impactful. And for those of you who may be listening on the podcast networks, thank you for taking the time to invest in your growth and your leadership. I also want to once again thank Bill for being here. It was a really, really fun and great conversation, one I've been hoping to have for a long time. Before I let you go, today's episode of Live with Sondra is brought to you by Gatemaster Technology. At Gatemaster, we help attractions operate smarter, serve guests better, and build stronger businesses through integrated operator first technology because your system should do more than function, it should help your business thrive. And you can learn more by visiting gatemaster.com. So if you enjoyed this conversation today, make sure to like, share, follow, whether you're watching or listening. You don't want to miss the future episodes featuring leaders who are shaping the future of attractions, tourism, and the experience economies. I am Sondra, and until next time, go out there and be great. Create great experiences for your guests. And I'm looking forward to seeing you.